get 'em on.
Hello people of YouTube, and this is my first video in the Versus series, and I would like to talk first about the SC-2010. Second, we'll be talking about the SA-805, and I'll break these down into several different categories. And I'll give long range distance, medium distance, and short distance. I'll also give the consistency of the weapon, whether it's better for rushing or defending, and then two of my favorite classes for it. So let's start this off. First, long range. The SC-2010 has moderate to low recoil, so at a long range it's not too bad to control it, but it's also a plus because it has somewhat of a high fire rate. So even though it has low, moderate recoil, and it has a higher rate, it makes it easy to manage and easy to stay on target when you're shooting at an enemy from far distance. Because of its fire rate and recoil, I give it an 8 out of 10. I also prefer it for medium distance for similar reasons, because of the high-ish fire rate and the low recoil. It works well in short distance as well, but it's best at long to medium distances, and this is what I prefer it for. Later on, I will talk about the short-range engagements. But because of the low recoil and the moderate to high fire rate, it's very effective to pick off targets and stay on target at a medium distance. So I give it a 7 out of 10. Now we are going to talk about short-range engagements. Now, for short-range engagements, you have a decent hip-fire spread. It's kind of tight, so it works well. It's moderate. You can use it, but it's, like I said before, it's better at medium to long distance engagement. So when you come into these close quarters combat situations, you tend to lose them a lot because of your weapon in general. You're in close quarters combat with an assault rifle, you're tempted to lose them to submachine guns and other short range weapons. So for this, I give it a 5.5 out of 10. Now next we're going to talk about the rushing or defending options for this weapon, whether it is better getting up in somebody's face or staying at a distance and defending something and keeping somebody out, like flags or bomb carriers or whoever you need to protect. First off, rushing with this weapon is okay. It can work, but I tend to not do it because it's like the close quarters combat. You lose a lot of your gunfights due to other people rushing as well, having submachine guns or shotguns or maybe even other assault rifles, and they shut you down pretty quick, especially with this weapon. There are other assault rifles that this works for, but defending is definitely where it's at. It's better to pick somebody off at a long distance, protect your objective, and that's how you use this weapon. Rushing is a 6 out of 10, and defending is an 8 out of 10. Next, among the most important things, the consistency of the weapon. When I'm using this gun, I don't seem to have too many problems going into games and knowing whether or not I'm going to get a high-scoring game or a decent game. This is one of the better weapons inside the game. A lot of competitive players use it, and it's not too bad on the consistency side to me. I don't have too many problems with this gun. When I put it on, I know that I am going into my try-hard mode, and so this is one of my main classes, and I enjoy using it a lot. So I give it a 8 out of 10 for consistency. Now for classes, the first class that I have set up for this would be the flash suppressor with grip. I would use quick draw, sleight of hand, ready up, dead silence, resilience, and focus on this class. Now for all of my classes, when it comes to perks, they will always be the same no matter what, because I use pretty much the exact same thing every time. They might vary based on the weapon. Now, the second class is just a red dot with grip, and again, I use the same perks and everything else. Now, this half of the comparison video is just about done. Before I go over to the SA-805, I'm going to give the overall score of the SC-2010 here shortly, and I think it's a fair score. This is my judgment of the weapon. It's obviously not the best weapon, but it works. It is effective to get the job done. Now, let's talk about the overall scores. The SC-2010 has a 42.5 out of 60. The SA-805 has a 0 out of 60. Now let's talk about the SA-805. At long-range engagements, it is at a little bit of a disadvantage compared to the SC-2010 because of its high-ish recoil and its high fire rate. For an assault rifle, it has a high fire rate, and because of the high fire rate, it gives it some higher recoil. Now, this recoil is not as easily managed as the SC-2010s, so when you're firing at somebody from a long range, you tend to bounce off target and find yourself spraying and praying to get your kill. So, for long-range engagements for the SA-805, I give it a 6 out of 10. Medium distances are a completely different story. Medium distance, I find myself picking up a lot of kills because of the high fire rate. It takes less bullets, or not less bullets, but less time to kill because you're putting more bullets downrange. So when I start firing at somebody in a crossed room in a house or in a longer house, I tend to kill them pretty quickly. I get a lot of kills in medium distance, and so for medium distance, I give the SA-805 an 8.5 out of 10. For short distance, this weapon has a bad hip fire spread. I do not like to use this for hip firing, and it kills quick. So if you have fast reflexes, you can still get the kill, just not very well hip firing. So if you can drop shot or jump shot or maneuver well in Call of Duty, then you can get the kill. For short distance, I give the SA-805 a 7 out of 10. Rushing versus defending. Now, when using this weapon, since it does have a lack of ability at a long range, I tend to use it rushing. This is one of my assault rifle rushing classes, and it works really well, getting into other people's spawns and taking them out. I feel like rushing is a better use of this weapon just because of the high fire rate, and because it has such a high recoil, it's not very good at defending and keeping people out from long distances and stuff like that. It would still work for that, but again, it's better for rushing. So for rushing, I give it a 9 out of 10, and for defending, I give it a 7 out of 10. Now let's talk about the consistency of the gun. Every time I've used this gun, I've never had any problems with it. Like, I took it into this game, and it worked just fine. In the next game, I couldn't get any kills with it, which is, connection-based, but it doesn't seem like it has any of those issues where one game it seems like I'm killing people in 3 shots and the next I'm killing them in 4 or 5. So for the consistency of this gun, I would probably give it a solid 9 out of 10. So now, let's talk classes. For class 1, I use a foregrip with suppressor and no secondaries, lethals, or tacticals. And I use quick draw, ready up, sleight of hand, dead silence, resilience, and focus as my perks. Class 2, I use a suppressor with extended mags, and again, no secondary, lethal, or tactical. I use ready up, sleight of hand, quick draw, dead silence, resilience, and focus. Once again, like I had said before, I use the same perks for everything, basically, it just depends on the weapon. Now that you have the ranges, the rushing and defending and consistency of the weapon and classes, I'm about to give you the overall score of the SA-805. The final scores are SC-2010 42.5 out of 60 and SA-805 56.5 out of 60. My weapon of choice is the SA-805 because of its medium and short range distance advantage over the SC-2010. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Feel free to like and subscribe. Come back again. My Twitter and Facebook links will be down in the description. And deuces! Get 'em all.